As ready as you'll ever be.
Yep.
Three, two, one. What's going on, guys? It's Astros here, and welcome back to League of Legends Anonymous podcast, LCS edition, the best edition. I'm here with my man Danger. How you doing, bud?
I make it the best edition, so
Well,
I completely
obviously,
agree with that.
we're
I'm
the
doing great.
the unstoppable duo.
Yep. Everyone wants a piece.
They can't have it. So we're gonna be talking. We played semifinals this weekend,
Yeah, and
or
we had no
quarterfinals.
quarterfinals. It's a finals version though,
Same
so
thing.
you got half of it right.
I mean, that's all that counts.
Yeah, I think so.
You're the other half that's supposed to help me out.
50% of the time it works every time.
Bam.
Yep, that's the phrase.
You want to hop right into it?
Yeah, let's do it. Game one: Golden Guardians versus FlyQuest. You might remember from last week, if you're one of the three viewers who listened to us, that we suggested banning Olay's Tom Kench. I think Astros specifically. And they didn't. And what did they pick? Oh, that's right. It's Tom Kench on Olay. And in this game, Golden Guardians got out to an early lead, kept that early lead, and proceeded to stomp.
Yeah, I think a couple big key things besides Ole getting Tom Kench. Froggen gets Karthus, which he's shown to play before in the regular season, and he doesn't get punished early game enough for picking it. Contracts plays Urgot Jungle, which is something new for 9.6. It's not something that is like was super picked before that. It's something that came out when Urgot got buffed to 9.6, and it shows he plays pretty well on it, 3-1 and 6. Out CS is Santorin. Haunter destroys Viper on the Kenna matchup into Aatrox. Like,
Yeah, and Viper's Aatroxes looked pretty good, but Haunter was just dominant in the lane. And I think you're right. Like, so it was really funny because FlyQuest coach said right after Pickums that he said they baited out the Urgot and the Tom Kench picks. They said that's what they wanted them to do. And boy, did that look stupid after the game took place. Because Urgot's ult works really well into Kindred because Kindred throws up his heal when he's low on health, and you can just ult him out, which didn't occur too often, but it is a good interaction for Urgot. Um, but yeah, he controlled the jungle early game, and Santorin just got kind of pushed around, wasn't able to have really good spots. Like you said, Froggen's Karthus is very clean. He farmed well. Pobelter had a really rough game on Lissandra. Usually, Lissandra, even not good games on Lissandra, you should be able to put up a decent score line. But he was 0-4 and 1, and it nothing worked for FlyQuest this game at all. It was obliteration.
yeah, that's kind of the problem with picking Lissandra, and if like you look at his team comp, he has Aatrox, Kindred, and Turtle and Kog'Maw. Lissandra works really well when there's someone else in the front line with her, which she has. Check, she has Viper. Um, but she's really good at blowing people up with her full combo, and there's just no one to really blow up because Ole's on the Tom Kench. If you try and blow up Deftly, he's gonna get Tom Kench eaten. He probably has QSS, or maybe he had Cleanse this game. Urgot's too tanky to blow up. Haunter is gonna have Hourglass. Froggen's gonna have Hourglass. He's gonna
And
have.
even if you were to kill Froggen, which they didn't the whole game, then he would still be alive, popping people in the middle of that team fight, right, for his passive. So,
And that's
yeah,
kind of where Santorin pick comes in, because you can drop the Kindred ult, and Froggen doesn't get to execute anyone.
yeah, that's a good
But
point.
it just never got to that point. Golden Guardians has a good balance of mid to late game picks, uh, a strong team fight comp. Definitely has his ulti. Contracts is on Urgot, who's this frontline tank, beef, shred, dumb champion. Ole's on a comfort pick tank. Haunter's on a champion that he's played a bunch. Like, GGS just wins the game in draft.
Yeah, and something really funny that happened was so definitely went the piercing arrow build, right? So we went arcane comment
Lethality.
with lethality just to make his Qs like huge.
Hmm.
And at one point at the end of the game, he Q'd Wild Turtle on Kog'Maw, chunking. Well, he Q'd at the same time as Karthus ult, and Kog'Maw was at full health, and he died to one Q Karthus ult, and then the arcane comet came flying in and finished him off, and it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, definitely the highlight of the game.
Yeah, it was an awesome play. It was very funny. They were just ahead so much at that point, obviously.
Yeah, and off that pick, it kind of the game just kind of ends because they're already sieging. If you look in the player cam when that happens, definitely like starts cracking up. It was really fun.
So then it's not looking great for FlyQuest after that, if that's exactly the draft they wanted. But we go into game two, and so talk about that draft a little bit.
In game two, Viper is on Jace, which he's played before. Santorin's on Elise. Pobelter is on Swain. Turtle's on Ezreal, and JJ is still on Braum. Did he play Braum like
He,
almost every game?
he tries to always play Braum.
He played. Okay.
He played Braum in every game except for game five.
Yeah. So we've criticized Elise picks in an A lot. I
Because
feel
they're
like
awful normally. They're
I
just so bad.
like they just don't use her early enough, and it's so hard to punish players on Elise right now because everyone's just kind of like playing for mid to late game. So these early game junglers, besides like J4, you don't really see get a lot of attention besides J4 and Rek'Sai.
Yep.
Elise in a little bit at the beginning of the split, but it's kind of just like a pick that you see in pro that only like a few junglers pick out. It's not the S tier
Yeah.
picks.
Yeah,
It,
you'll always see Lee Sin in pro, whether he's bottom tier or top tier. He's always gonna make a few appearances just because of the amount of plays he can have with his mobility.
he's
But
just a comfort pick too, because players have been playing him for so long.
right. But yeah, Santorin picks the Elise, and it's a pretty good combo with Swain because once that stun hits, he can also pull him in.
Hmm.
And they use that pretty effectively. And I believe I've seen this in a couple other regions where Swain's kind of a counterpick to Lissandra right now.
Hmm.
Because when she comes in for a combo, you're going to absorb a lot of damage from or from Swain. And Pobelter plays an immaculate game on Swain. Like
He gets really fed.
he gets huge, and the funny thing is Golden Guardians keep gunning for him. Like they're like, oh good, we cut out Swain. There's three of us. It's like Haunts or Contracts and Froggins. Like they count out, they get Swain, and then Swain ults, and he's like, okay, he's kind of surviving, but we think we can take him down. And then he uses stopwatch, and then he's full health, and then three members of the team show up, and then he obliterates all of them. They probably did that three or four times where you could see them. I get you're trying to catch him, you're trying to shut him down. It's a good plan, but they just didn't have the damage for it. I believe it was a tanky Jarvan with a Yorick and a Lissandra, and they kept doing that when bot lane was still going back and forth, and it just didn't pan out.
Another thing, GGS's like comp just has no good damage. Haunter's on Yorick, which his Haunter's combined or not Haunter, Yorick's combined KDA and LCS is like I think it's one of the lowest in LCS. They said it on the it's winless. It's just never
For one,
played well.
right? I mean, it's played very well in LCK. He's a devastating pick, but I agree. When you see it in NA and LCS, it's just not. It hasn't panned out this far. Much like the Elise pick, so one of them had to work this game, right? Either York's getting a win or Elise is.
Another thing, they don't have anyone that can kill the Swain fast enough. Because if
Nope.
Swain ulties before Froggen ulties, he's gonna heal while he's CC'd. So it doesn't matter. You have contracts on Jarvan, Froggen's on Lissandra, Definitely is on Lucian, and Ole's on Galio, and you just don't have anyone who does enough. to kill the Swain, especially once the Swain gets 2 kills. It's just it's so hard to kill him. He goes deathless and he just flexes the whole game.
Mm-hmm. Wild Turtle was nice and safe on his Ez. Just built up. Really bot lane didn't play bad for Golden Guardians. Definitely on the Lucian. Was doing just fine. Ole on Galio. I don't love Ole's Galio, but it makes sense with the Wombo combo with contracts is what they're trying to pull off. And they did start banning out the Tom Kench. This was the first of many Tom Kench bans moving forward. So yeah, just overall, they had no ability to handle the Swain, and Elise actually did help early game, which helped to start rolling the game in the right favor, and it ended up being a pretty dominating win. 4 dragons to none. They got a Baron, nine towers to two. So overall, a pretty controlled victory from Fly.
Yeah, another thing with this game is like definitely doesn't have the freedom to go and do all the damage because if he walks up to the Swain or the Elise or the Jace, he's just gonna get blown up.
Right,
Um,
and he doesn't have the range to do much else since
yeah.
he's on Illusion. So
Uh, Santorn creates a pretty big CS lead throughout the game, and I mean I like Golden's Guardians team comp all besides the top lane pick. I
yeah, if
think
they
like
and they were
any
trying,
other
I think,
pick.
to like defend against the Jace, right? So if you're trying to split push as the Jace, I can get. I understand Yorick is like trying to defend that split push by also being able to split push himself, um, but yeah, I agree. They were kind of going for like a wombo combo, and then they just decided to go off it with Haunter's pick.
Yeah, because I mean, you'll see the combo between Galio and Lissandra a lot, and then the jungler is kind of sprinkled. You can put Kindred, Jarvan, uh, Rek'Sai in there, and it all kind of works the same. Even Nocturne,
Yep.
where the jungler or Frog and dives, the Galio comes on top of it, and then either if it's Frog and diving first, or the Lissandra, whoever's playing it, diving first, and then the Galio ulti, and then the jungler CC, or the other way around. Like, it's just a really deadly combo, and I would have liked to see something like an Ornn or a Poppy, just something else, because Poppy can play fine into Jace and is just
Poppy
more
would have been a
useful.
really good pick in this situation. I don't have the bands up, but I think she was open.
Maybe she was banned. But like, I don't know. I don't like the top pick. Luckily, it was the last time they did it. They didn't pick it in game three, which they won without the Yorick. So Yorick equals losing.
Well, this game equaled. Well, for one, they picked Poppy this game into Jace, right?
Hmm.
Huh? Seems like a good idea. But what was really impressive this game was Froggen on Vel'Koz.
Yeah, this is just Froggen playing, not the orthodox mid laners in NA, the Akalis. He picks his Vel'Koz was only really Crown I think was playing before. Um, and I don't know. This just seemed like an off game for Pobelter because Froggen gets first blood, full comboing, and then ulting POB, and POB is at like the very end of the Vel'Koz ulti. He has flash and heal up, and he just dies instead of using either of them, and he
Either.
would have
It
lived.
was
He didn't even
infuriating
have
to
to use
watch.
both.
He just needed one of them, and it's just like, oh, this true damage won't pop, and then boom, he's dead. And then that's what Vel'Koz did the rest of the game. Now he didn't get a ton of kills after. He did just fine in the game, but I'm saying like of the solo lane. But what happened is finally Pobelter would get back in the lane, he'd combo him, bring him down to like 10% health, and he'd have to back. And he just kept controlling the lane that way. And Pobelter was really stuck. He couldn't leave lane ever. And he was always chunked down. And it was just really good plays by Frog, and knowing that he didn't need to have the kill to create the pressure.
Yeah, if you see good Vel'Koz players, they'll throw their Q out, and then they'll ulti, and while they're ulting, their ulti will slowly tick as passive, and they're hoping while you're trying to walk backwards or out of the ulti, he can hit you with the Q for one extra poke because it's the ability he's maxing, and it applies an extra stack. And it's hard. You either take the Q and avoid some ult damage, or you eat the full channel with the ulti pretty much. Especially on someone like a Syndra who doesn't have a dash.
Yeah, and he did that multiple times, and it worked
Yeah.
really well.
Haunter got super fed on the Poppy. He's played it before. He's looked good on it. He played it in their tiebreaker match. They didn't get the win, but just like this game, he got really ahead on a tank and just kind of stomped Ole and definitely get a really strong bot lane with the Kalista Galio. It's a really, really destructive combo.
It's sick.
It's an S tier bot lane duo right now in pro play. And Wild Turtles on Vayne, something that I don't put on a Wild Turtle pick.
No, that's not. That's definitely not a normal pick for Wild Turtle.
Santorin's on the Elise, and with Pobelter dying early, he doesn't have a winning bot lane. It's hard to gank a Poppy because Jace just can't force her out enough once he gets like a couple items under his belt. And like even diving him is just too risky because he can buy so much time between Poppy ulti, Poppy W blocking Elise Q, Jace hammer form Q.
Yep,
Uh,
and even Wild Turtle's rolls and Jay's jumps. Like Poppy's a perfect pick into it. And I did look it up, and Poppy was banned in game two, so it makes sense that he didn't play the Poppy.
well, I would have
The
rather
Ornn still
seen
didn't work.
Ornn, like just
Yes, Ornn
something.
was available, but
What about Cho'Gath? He played a good
Cho'Gath
Cho'Gath
was
too.
available.
Like
Yeah, so
just
I mean,
something.
not saying it was a good, but Poppy's the obvious pick, and they did ban him out that game, so that makes some sense.
Yeah, this was
But no,
just
I agree. It was just a controlled victory by. Um, I mean, mid's where I noticed the most, but then obviously Haunter completely controlled the Jace, and if you can nullify that Jace early, he doesn't have any value. They have NA Jace for a meme for a reason.
yeah, and I don't think Viper's Jace, his Jace is a comfort pick like his Aatrox. It's just if Jace doesn't get ahead and the rest of his team is behind, it's just the pick is irrelevant. I think GGS won this draft by a long shot, just
Yeah,
based off the AD carry picks and the mid lane picks.
to me they picked each lane to win and scale, and that's what they did.
Yeah, they picked it to win or go even. Like the only lane that I like mid and top, if they go even, like they're still fine because Vel'Koz still does amazing damage. Vel'Koz can even fall behind, and because of his passive, it doesn't matter.
Right, and you have the Wombo with J4 and Galio, so all you need is the taunt to land from Galio or contracts to lock him into the cage, and Vel'Koz can just obliterate a team.
Yeah, this was just a really good draft from Golden Guardians. They get every Baron, every Dragon, 11 towers to 4. Like, just good on the coaching staff of GGS. They won this game in draft.
Then we go to game four, and this to me is the game of the series and the game of the weekend, at least as far as NA is concerned.
This is the game I fell asleep for.
Yeah, this is you should go back and watch it because you missed out on a really well played game. I'd say by both sides. I don't have a lot of um, gripes with the way either of them played or were able to come back. The start of the game was hilarious because Santorin's on Karthus, so Karthus jungle, and he spotted Contracts trying to come and invade him early on. So as Contracts was moving across his ward, he started queuing him, right? And that solo Q damage does a lot early. So he hit him with two before Contracts even knew what was going on, and then he had to run away with like a third health and head to back. And then Karthus proceeded to counter jungle the J4, which is not something Karthus is particularly known for. He stole his Raptors, he stole his Krugs. He went into his jungle the other side, and at one point he was up like 30 CS to 15, and the announcers were like, "Oh, he's got him doubled up." And then the game keeps going on, and he's up 75 CS to 37, and they're like, he still has him doubled up because he controlled his own jungle. He was Contracts at one point like sat in one of the bushes hoping for a gank opportunity to appear. Like it was very well played by Santorin. But to Contrax's credit, he held in there. He didn't pick fights that he couldn't lose, and he did have an impact on the game. There was a lot of back and forth in this game. A lot of really good play, I'd say overall. Um,
I
did
think
you watch any of the highlights?
uh no. I chose to use my time before this for something else. It was League of Legends related, but it wasn't watching. I didn't have enough time to watch a full game. I think a really important thing you'll notice in this series is, everyone looked at Viper at the start of this split saying that, the rest of FlyQuest doesn't have any stars. They don't have a double lift to Bjergsen, Smithy. Like, they don't have any of these super insane big name players. They don't have any of the top three picks in an A for their role. At least that's what it was expected at the start of the season.
Right.
Viper has shown that he can play a very large champion pool at a very high skill level.
Yep.
He can
He was
play
on the rise
Aatrox,
this
he
game.
plays Ryze, he plays Jace, he plays he has his Riven. Like, he can play a lot of champions, and what everyone thought was going to be the biggest problem for FlyQuest coming into this series was, I don't want to say the smallest issue, but definitely one of the smallest issues. I think Viper is definitely going to be rookie of the split. I don't think there's anyone else you can give that award to. He's just played insanely well, and when he hasn't played well, he's bounced back since their slump, and he really shows it in this series. It's his first best of five, and he goes deathless this game. He's got a perfect game. Like, the guy's
Yeah,
just
he
playing
was he
well.
was really good on the sidelines. Wild Turtle played on hit Varus, so we're talking about like Ginsu's Rage Blade and that sort of build, and he was very good in the sustained team fights. Now, what kept Golden Guardians in this when Fly had a really good, strong early game is Poe Belter had a good early game, and then I feel like a slight bit of overconfidence. Is he was engaging with Aurelia, and he was diving all the way in. I mean, like all the way in, trying to get to Kaisa or Vel'Koz, which is definitely in Frogland, and he would get popped and die and maybe get a kill, but normally die without which getting I guess a decent chunk damage. But luckily the other four members were able to sustain those fights still 4v5 at that point. So I feel like Poe Belter, well, he had some really nice outplays, especially in the early mid portion. He got a bit overconfident and just started flying in like a crazy man. But I guess it worked out in the long run because they did take this game. But it was 17 kills to 13 kills. Each team got an inhibitor at one point. Each team got a Baron. Each team got three dragons. Like it was a back and forth game. It was an excellent game. I'd suggest you go back and watch it. I'd also suggest anyone who is thinking of watching maybe one of the games, choose game four. It's a well played game by both sides. It's pretty evenly split.
Just for you, I'll do my best.
That
I'm a pretty
that
busy
that's a good
man.
idea. I think you'll enjoy it.
I
And that
mean,
brings us to a crucial game five.
yeah, so this determines who goes and moves on to semis and who ends up in getting cut early.
Yeah, and it started off pretty well for Golden Guardians. Contracts got off to a really nice early lead. Um, he was doing a good job getting early marks and controlling his jungle. Uh, and then Wild Turtle and especially Poe Belter. Poe Belter was on Zoe. I don't call her Zoe. I call her Zoe. I always will because I don't think she deserves the E because she's a miserable character and should never have been introduced in the league. But if she was going to be introduced in the league, it should be played like Poe Belter played her because it was masterful. He was all over the place, jumping with fucking stolen spell after stolen spell, just skipping around like a piece of shit and
It's like my ARAM clip.
controlling everywhere. It was exactly like the ARAM clip. Viper went on Aurelia and played really well
I was about to
into
say,
the Ornn.
4 picks from FlyQuest this game are not the same picks that they played throughout the rest of the series.
Yep, they were brand new, and that makes it. That's what makes 5 game series so fun to watch. Is because you can see just how deep people's champion pool, and when they really want to pull something out, they're in game 5, right? This is win or go home, and they pull out a clever, not yet seen before team comp. You know that they're all squishy. You got Aurelia, Lee Sin, Zoe, Varus, and Morgana. So you're squish across the board. And then on the other team, you have Haunter on Ornn and Ole on Braum, and you have a very strong early game with Deathly on Lucian. So you have Braum and Lucian, a great combo. You have Froggen on Lissandra, one of the most overpowered characters right now. And then Contract's got a really good start on Kindred, but it was really Wild Turtle and Pole Belter who controlled their lanes, even though like Wild Turtle should have been in a losing lane, but he did very well in lane, and both Bull Belter and Wild Turtle go deathless, 6-0 and 7 on Pobe, 4-0 and 7 on Turtle, and they just completely end up controlling the game after a nice early game by Contracts, and 15 kills to 6. You know, Golden Guardians only got one tower. It was a pretty pretty clear cut victory by FlyQuest.
I think one thing I really like about FlyQuest's comp here is despite it being very glass cannon-esque, you have JJ on the Morgana, which is something that really plagues Zoe and LeBlanc right now. Because
Yep.
especially Zoe, since her E now, if you put the shield on before they sleep, they don't sleep. So that's a really good pick. It also denies the Horn. It denies Braum stun in bot lane, so it makes bot lane a little more survivable. Um, Santorin's on Lee Sin. Not something that he picked like a super big amount, but when you're going all in on this early game team comp, you need a jungler that can come out and apply pressure. And he goes 1-1 and 12. He's participated in all but two of the kills. He's got the second highest kill He's tied for the first highest kill participation in the game with Pope. Like it just
And
looked
it's
like
a
a
really good pick
well-oiled
into
machine.
Kindred, right? Because
You
the
can kick
Kindred
out of
ult
his
you can
ulti,
kill
yeah.
him out, which is a nice work. But I also really like FlyQuest's adjustment in the banning phase. Their first 3 bans were Tom Kench, as we said, should have been the first ban every time. Vel'Koz and Callista, right? Vel'Koz was plaguing them. Froggen was playing it really well, so that's a good ban. And Callista um, can kind of take over a game with a lot of different support. So I really liked their adjustment. And Silas, I believe, was banned on red side every single time because no one wants to see Silas right now.
Salas is, I think he's banned in like almost every game, like
Yeah,
all weekend. But yeah, like
because
FlyQuest looking really strong going into quarterfinals.
it was a fun series. It was well played by both teams. Gold Guardian should be really proud of what they accomplished after being 10th all of last season, right? Both
Well,
splits.
they're the
To
first team in history to start a season 04 and make playoffs.
Yeah,
So, I
so
mean,
they really put it together,
yeah, shout out
and
to
it was
their.
it was a good it was a very good season for them.
It was fun. I mean, everyone kind of came into the weekend like we've watched them play so many times because they played
Yeah,
like
they had played twice just the last
yeah,
week.
and then of course it goes to a 5 game series, so he gets to watch it even more.
Yep, they played what a total of 8 times this split. Then that's
Yeah,
crazy.
but I mean, I thought all the games were enjoyable. I didn't fall asleep because the games were boring. I just want to point that out there. Fell asleep because I was just really tired.
You're allowed to be tired sometimes. I'll allow
Thanks, dude.
it.
I didn't fall asleep for any of Sunday's games because it's
I'm
my
sure you
team.
didn't.
It's my
That's your
team.
team, Echo Fox.
Wait, I think my headset's messed up. It sounded like you said Echo Fox.
Oh, I forgot. You're a TSM fan.
Oh yeah. So starting it off on Sunday, game one, Echo Fox versus TSM. Uh, I don't want to talk about this game.
I do. It was
Uh,
a it was a interesting game. I mean, it wasn't like terribly played by TSM.
No,
It's
it wasn't
just
terribly played. It was terribly drafted. So let me. I'm gonna read out these picks real quick. Um, so one funny thing to know is TSM's kryptonite last split was Apollo Hakuo and the Thresh in particular. Uh, and Song was TSM's coach last year, right? That's his name.
yeah,
He's now the Echo Fox's coach. So it had this like really interesting dynamic where it's, Solo, Apollo, Hakuo versus TSM again, the one that kicked them out of uh, making their playoff run last split.
yep,
And it just seemed like they were their kryptonite. They just rolled them. So what got drafted? TSM plays Jax in the top lane, J4 in the jungle, Zillion mid, Sven on Ezreal, Smoothie on Galio. Echo Fox plays solo on Aatrox, Rush on Kindred, Phoenix on Zoe, Apollo on Varus, Braum on Hakuo. And when I look at the draft, the Zillion is picked to make sure that they can't play the Zillion Kindred combo, because
yeah. It's to steal the immortal combo.
it's really really hard to play against.
It's so annoying.
And um, what ends up happening this game, and it happens really early. So on the first clear, Rush clears his red, his Krugs, bot lane scuttle. Well, Mark spawns topside. Um, and TSM has no wards on bot lane Crab at all. There's no vision there. Sven and Smoothie, I think, used their wards in the upward parts of the jungle, but they didn't ward the river. So Acadian clears blue, then he goes red. When he's finishing clearing red, Mark spawns. It spawns top crab, and he's there. Rush is down at bottom river, but he doesn't know that because they don't have vision. Sven, you can't win a 1v1 against Kindred on J4 unless you know that you're coming out of Fog of War and you hit your EQ. Because Kindred can just Q out of your EQ combo and then just kite you and kill you.
Right.
So he gives up that mark. So now Rush
Yeah,
has.
he went to like Krugs
Yeah,
instead,
he
right?
went, did his Krubs, and then reset.
And then backed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
J4-1, he doesn't have a great first clear, especially if you get no crabs, and he doesn't have the most efficient clear. And J4 really is good in pro play when, or in general, is playing and using his early game aggressively. Early ganks, early pressure in the jungle, and I mean, what are you gonna gank? He camps Jax to make sure that Jax doesn't far insanely behind because that's kind of their win condition. Bjerg's on Zillion. He's just gonna clear the lane with against Phoenix. You've Ezreal Galio bot lane. You have the Galio with the Jarvan combo, and instead of Lissandra, you have a Zillion, which kind of does the same thing in a way with the
Right. You can
double
throw two
bomb
bombs
stack,
into that. Yeah.
and you get Immortal, and you get a res. So I don't hate the combo, but it was just executed really bad.
And speaking of poor execution, I don't know if you remember this, but Rush in the fights, so he was doing a great job farming, but in the fights he played terrible. Like terrible Kindred. I think for First Blood, I think it was for First Blood. If not, it was one of the
Yes,
early
it
fights.
was.
It's J4 and Jax versus Kindred and
Aatrox.
Aatrox's solo, and they're fighting, and it's a perfect situation because all Rush has to do is hit the Kindred ult, and they'll win the fight. And instead, Aatrox dies, then Kindred ults to save J4, and then he jumps out of the heal and then dies to Jax. It was
So
miserable mechanical play.
here's why that looks really bad. But if you rewatch the clip, so when that's happening up in top lane, Kindred has two E stacks on Jax already,
So
and
he's
he's
trying to
waiting
get the
for
third.
he's trying to proc the third for the execute. And if he ulties, he he can't not auto or E completely resets and it'll wear off. And if he drops ulti, they don't win the fight because
It just looks so
J4 Jax.
bad.
It looks bad, and like it looks
And
really
because
bad.
Solo was about to have his second Q up. So I think that you can use your second Q, wait for it, and then as soon as the ult is about to drop, he should be able to Q them both. Because they're all in the fucking cage together, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jax has Counter Strike up. Like, I'm pretty sure they lose it no matter what. But I mean, yeah, at first glance it looks really bad, especially
It
there.
felt bad. It felt bad to watch.
Yeah, I mean, there was another one at the Dragon fight where I thought TSM was gonna bring it back, where he gets J4 comboed, he drops the Kindred ult, hops out of it, and then dies to I think it was a tick. It was either red buff or Galio ulti or something. And then Jax comes in and wipes, and it's like wait, TSM is coming back, and then this maybe this game goes completely different. But the last team fight, J4, there's bouncing, and right now based on how you're gonna team fight as this comp, Solo is gonna dive TSM's backline while
And man,
Broken
did he in
Blade
this last fight.
Broken Blade is gonna dive Echo Fox's backline.
Yep.
Um, well, J4 goes in and combos. I forget who he comboed on, but Galio ult isn't up, and Galio ult doesn't come up until he's already dead. So Bjerg wastes his ult on Acadian to res the Jarvan after his combo's already off, and it's kind of like, well, it doesn't matter.
And Solo came in like a flying hell beast and just
Yeah.
trashed their back line in that last fight.
And it
He
wasn't even the
was
full backline because Bjerg is over that mid lane wall by Raptor's pit, and
right.
Sven and Smoothie are stuck in mid lane, pushed up closer to the tier 2 turret or tier 1 turret. And Solo just obliterates their back line, and Broken Blade doesn't have the damage to deal with um, the CC from Braum, the CC from Phoenix, the CC from Varus. And here's another thing, Phoenix plays like three champions well, and you gave
Yep.
him one of his strongest champions this split,
And he played it
and he
really
played
well.
it really well.
They got a 20-minute Baron because of his Zoe play because he had picked off two different people, um, not killing them both, but chunking them so that they had to back, and then they were able to rush like a 21-minute Baron and get it without contest. And so that helped start building their lead, and then the second Barons was help finish it off.
Yeah, Phoenix like this was just a good game from Echo Fox. I'm not a fan of the draft. I'm not a fan of Acadian on the J4. J4 in pro play, you have to have really good vision to work around it, so you're not wasting your flag for vision, and you need to play really aggressively. And when he gave up his first rotation, clearing three camps and backing without contesting either
Yeah,
crab,
it just felt weak.
it felt weak. And Rush was just able to get every mark after that. He had four marks, like I think it was pre 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was at like 950 or something like that.
Like, and Rush didn't even play like that well.
No, he did not play
It's
well.
not like
That's the
he got
funniest thing.
yeah. So
Speaking of Rush not playing well, let's go to game two.
so going into game 2, Astros is already typing in Discord that TSM is gonna lose in draft because I hated their first draft. In hindsight, maybe it's not that bad, but I'm not a fan of it. I don't like Acadian on Jarvan. Um, but this game, another thing to mention, Broken Blade drew Akali bans all series, and I was really upset because I wanted to see some Akali.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
Akali was getting banned in the other games too, even though it wasn't played, just because she's in a pretty good spot right now.
uh, another champion, Broken Blade, has been proven to play well on his Vladimir, which he gets this game. Uh, they sub out Acadian and put the real Acadian back in. He
Grab him
plays
Rek'Sai.
Rek'Sai. Bjerg back on Lissandra. Sven and Smoothie get the Callista Galio combo that we've talked about before.
And that's just a really strong draft.
That is, as a TSM fan, I look at that draft and I'm like, I'm pretty happy. I like that. But Echo Fox's draft isn't bad. You have
No, it's not bad.
Cho'Gath
And
on solo. Uh, Rush gets his Jarvan, which he looked unbeatable on coming into playoffs.
Yep.
Phoenix gets Corki, which is a good matchup into Lissandra because you can bully her out. Uh, Apollo's on Jinx, which he's proven to pop off on late game. Haku is on Braum duty because he gets his Morg banned every single game.
Yep. Poor Aqua. Never gets to play his main.
So this looked like a completely different jungler. Acadian looks so much more comfortable on the Rek'Sai. He
He was
gets
aggressive. That's what I really liked about it. He
he was
dominated the
so
early game.
aggressive. This game he pulls first blood. Um, Bjerg's really good at roaming. His scoreline doesn't show that he's like a real carry. He's 2-0 and 9. Um, but his just pressure in the jungle, and I mean there was one play where they're chasing them into their blue buff, and I think Bjerg leaves Acadian with Solo. I want to say it was either Solo or Phoenix, I think, and he dips out when he could have like his passive was already there. But that was the only like play I saw from Bjerg this game where I was just like, well, that may not be the right play. It's not like a game losing play, but they
Right.
just fork over a death for no reason. Broken Blade goes deathless, Sven goes deathless. Like this was the
It,
TSM I was happy to see.
and what I wrote down is TSM's map movements were so much better this game than the previous game. They seemed to just have much better communication. Their warding was better. They had knowledge of the J4 like all the time, which allowed Acadian to make the plays that he was making. He was soloing dragons because they knew that he would be, like top Krugs or something like that. And they did. They just suffocated them. Like you said, it's not a bad draft by Echo Fox, but when J4 gets bullied that much early on and can't even try and affect the lane, it means that Sven's gonna farm up. They're both on carries for late game, right? Apollo and Sven. But the difference is they hit their six and were able to pop Apollo and Hakuo with the Callista Galio combo, and then they just ended up controlling from there. I mean, Apollo did a good job farming. He was about even. Um, Phoenix and Bergson were about even. The only real significant advantages were in jungle and top as far as farming is concerned. But Solo played just fine on the Cho'Gath. I didn't think that it was particularly excellent, but I think he played all right. It just didn't work for them because of how much better the map movements were for TSM. It was a clean game. It was a knowledgeable game.
There was a play at Dragon where if I think you look at this game and it just looks like TSM stomped the whole map, which they did, but there's like a couple plays from Sven where just like, I don't play a lot of AD carry, so maybe it's just me not understanding the role, or I don't know, but he's like, you can rend while you're in your Q animation, and then when your Q lands, it'll rend again, and he does it on like a kill bot lane on Hako around Dragon, and it looks like such a cool play. Like Sven just looked really really good this game. Um, the only
I
thing
think
is,
people are understanding just how strong Callista is right now too.
especially with like a Galio or a Braum, like the combo is just really strong. Uh, like you have gold leads in every position of like 2K, and I mean if Fox gets to the point late game where they outscale, this game can go different because like Callista isn't the greatest at shredding health tanks like Cho'Gath, despite having Bork, and you can't really burst out a Cho'Gath once he gets Stone Plate.
Yeah, he can become just
But
huge once he gets enough stacks of his ult too.
when in early, like especially, how long was this game? 32 minutes, something like that.
Yeah,
Cho'Gath goes first item Abyssal Mask for the Vlad lane, and it's like by the time he starts grouping, and he's got Righteous Glory next, he doesn't have the resistances to stop Sven from just destroying everybody. This was just a really good team game from TSM and a really strong draft from TSM.
agreed.
Rush didn't look like he had the pressure to perform against or on the Jarvan.
No, and I don't blame it all on him because they were doing such a good job of tracking him. It was just him getting bullied out of everything that he was trying to get. Because even if you're playing a good Jarvan, Rek'Sai is better than you early game. It's just what it is. Like
Hmm.
Rek'Sai is a better early game champ. You need better rotation to protect from the Rek'Sai, and you need better vision on the Rek'Sai to be able to let J4 get a little bit of time, because all he needs to do is get a few of his camps and then be able to gank. But he couldn't even get his camps without Rek'Sai showing up and trouncing him. So it was I don't put that game on Rush, even though it looks terrible for him. He's 0-6. He's got terrible farm, but it had more to do with TSM controlling the vision game and controlling the knowledge on the map.
It's not so much Rush playing bad, it's just Acadian playing really well.
Yeah,
And Acadian playing really well carries into the third game. He's on the Rek'Sai again, Rush again on the Jarvan, and the whole game, the Rek'Sai just looks stronger. Bjergsen's on Lissandra again, Smoothie's on Galio again, Sven's on Kai'Sa this game, and Broken Blade pulls out the Conqueror top lane Hecarim, and it does a lot of damage.
it does. I've seen this in a few other regions as well, and it is scary amounts of damage because he stacks it so fast with his Q and his E. Like he has it. He has this fully stacked conquer in like 2.3 seconds or something like that. It's just like, bam, fully stacked conquer, and then he's healing for a good amount, right? Because conquer you get the heals from.
Yeah, and his W
Um,
heals him.
it's it,
He's playing into Aatrox, which Hecarim was the counter to Aatrox back at Worlds. Licorice pulled it out, and it's even stronger now because you
yeah.
can kill the Aatrox even faster with Conqueror.
And I still thought Solo played a pretty good game against a straight counter pick. I thought Solo had a pretty decent game, but you were right about Acadian, really strong early game, but he got kind of cocky, and he got 2 kills early onto Rush, I believe, both of them. And then so he
No,
invaded
they were both
again.
on to Swain.
Oh, they were both on the Swain?
Hmm.
Okay. And so then he evaded again on Rush, but this time he went too deep and allowed the shutdown gold, which I think helped Fox kind of stem the tide a little bit. But then the tide kept rolling after that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, Swain, we said worked really well for Pobelter when he picked it into Lissandra.
It didn't look good. Uh,
All well, Rek'Sai was all in that lane, right? That was the problem, is they didn't have the kill pressure on that Swain. Well, Rek'Sai had the kill pressure on Swain this
which no,
time.
it didn't even make sense. So Phoenix gets ganked, and he avoids the gank, and then steps back up, and then just gets flashed on by Acadian,
Yep.
and dies. And it's like something that Phoenix really struggles with is he doesn't back off when he can get out for free, and he's got some of the lowest vision scores like in the LCS as a mid laner. Like part of this, I don't remember what rune he went, but I know he didn't go the same room that POB went against Lissandra, and runes in this game make like a big difference. I'm trying to find it, but it doesn't show me what rune he goes. I don't remember it not showing you.
He went grasp.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to go spellbook.
Mm. Yeah, I could see that helping.
Uh, but I don't know. Phoenix didn't look this good this game. Sven
No,
looked
and
it.
it's not one of his comfort picks, right?
No,
So
it's
Phoenix is
picked for a counter.
is is really the definition of a hyper focused player. Like you put him on Azir, you put him on Zoe, you're like, this guy is a top tier mid laner. And then you put him on Swain, or you put him on, other picks that are good in the meta, but aren't his particular, cups of tea, and he just looks bad on him, which I understand. It's always amazing to me when pros can pick, literally like a friggin' nuke duck. He's got a ocean over there in the EU. He picked like 16 unique characters this year. Like it's absolutely insane. And I always find that really impressive when you can play that many characters well. But that's not Phoenix. Phoenix is good at a few. and when you range outside of those few, it can be pretty telling.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like he didn't look comfortable. I don't like the Kog'Maw here. There's just too much dive for the Kog'Maw. There's a couple times there's a big fight bot lane where Bjerg flashes on Kog'Maw, Acadian ults Kog'Maw, Sven ults on the Kog'Maw, and then
And
Hecarim's diving the rest of the team. And it looked like a fight where if Echo Fox won, they were right back in the game. But instead, I think it was 4-1 or 3-1, and it's like, oh,
yeah, they banned out the Varus and the Vayne, it looks like, and they picked the Kaisa, but I agree. It didn't make a lot of sense because it's not like you had to protect the Kog'Maw comp. You have divers in J4 and Aatrox. You have like a mid range mage in Swain. So really, the only protection he has is Braum versus Galio, Lissandra, Hecarim. Like it, it was a confusing pick, and it played out that way. It just it didn't work.
this wasn't like the first three picks were fine, but your bot lane has to be different.
Yeah, Kog'Maw needs protection. Like even and I like Wild Turtle's Kog'Maw. I think it's a pretty good pick for him.
We're talking about
But
Apollo.
oh, sorry, Apollo. Sorry.
You're
Whew.
good.
Yeah. But I think Apollo's played him pretty well before,
Yeah,
and it's not that it's a bad pick for him. It's that it's a bad pick for the team comp. He's not what you need in this team comp.
the
You
Jinx
really
is
need
up
it.
here.
Yeah.
Um,
Jinx is up.
Sivir is up.
Ezreal is up,
Ez yeah,
which I
Ezreal's
kind
up.
of like because he can survive that dive a lot better
hmm
um, when they're coming at you and still put out the damage from range. I would have actually really liked Ez in this team comp. I think that would have worked really well.
Yeah,
But
just
they,
something. Or you need a
yeah,
support that can stop the dive. But they banned the Morgana. He's played Lulu with the Kog'Maw before, but then you're playing Lulu into Galio, and if Galio gets on you with
yeah, you're gonna get
Rek'Sai, like this is just another game where I look at it, I'm like, I like TSM's draft better, just as a
yeah,
whole.
without a doubt. And they completely controlled this game without there was almost nothing going for Fox besides that early game shutdown, which gave them like stemmed the tide a little bit, got them I think a dragon right after that. Besides that, they just it was a pretty methodical destruction.
So this means TSM is one game away from getting past the Apollo Hakuo solo curse in playoffs, and we go into game four. Uh, this
You
looked
got an interesting draft here in game four.
instantly better from Echo Fox's coaching staff. They banned the Galio, they banned the Lissandra, the two of the champions that really
But you know what I
dictated
would have liked to see
the
if
Rek'Sai
they
ban.
had banned the Rek'Sai. Like why? Like he has in those two middle games, he looked so good on Rek'Sai. Like it wasn't even
He was
close,
definitely
man.
like if you look at those two games, Acadian played great. Those were he was in game two he was the best player on his team. In game three he wasn't the best player, but he hard carried that early game. He played really well.
And they want to pick the J4 again. They want to pick J4 Rush, so they leave Rek'Sai up. It just to me instead of that Kennen ban in that first round, you ban Rek'Sai there.
Well,
But maybe there are
the Kennen
yeah
ban
there's
is new, and the second they ban it, I'm like, all right, well they're picking something different top lane because
which
they
they
didn't
did.
ban Akali, and they ended up first picking it.
Yeah, they
But
first picked Akali, and so maybe that they were afraid of the Kennen into the Akali.
it is a good
Much rather
matchup for
face
Kennen.
Broken. I would rather face Broken Blade's Kennen than Acadian's Rek'Sai, especially with the two games you just played. And you know you want to pick J4 jungle again, and they do pick J4 jungle again, and Rek'Sai controls the game again.
And that's another
Like it's
thing.
just
Rek'Sai can counter, can knock you up out of your flag and drag combo.
which
He
he did.
beats you in the 1v1.
It's just
He has more early game pressure than you. He has a better clear speed. He does better with CS. Like,
it's forgetting about what turned your season around. Fox's Echo Fox's season turned around when Rush found his footing, and a lot of it was on J4. So you want J4, I get it. He plays a good J4, I get it. Don't let the Rek'Sai, who just destroyed your J4 in the previous two games, get picked. Just don't let it happen. It just seems it's a huge oversight, in my opinion. I love the Galio ban. I love the Lissandra ban. I hate the Kennen ban. I don't care if you want to first pick Akali. Don't let them get
I mean,
Rek'Sai.
I don't even understand the Gangplank ban.
Now,
Like, so
you already have the top and the mid and the jungle. Like it's right there. They right? Isn't that in the
yeah,
first round?
yeah,
Oh no. In the first round they picked Lucian too. So they banned the Gangplank not knowing what they're gonna because they last pick Hecarim. So
yeah. But I mean, it really doesn't matter. Like the Gangplank ban's bad. I don't think Broken Blade has played Hecarim all season.
yeah.
Like I would
So
have rather seen the Hecarim ban or move the Kennen ban until second round. Like
yeah.
you first pick Akali. They're pretty certain that the Akali is going top. Like I look at that, I'm like I saw that, I'm like that's a top lane Akali. I don't see Phoenix as an Akali player.
Right. And I love the Alistair pick into the Zaya Rakan combo. I think he's very good at messing up a lot of what Hakuo is going to try and do on Rakan.
Yeah, so we'll run through the draft real quick because I guess we haven't done that. Echo Fox drafts Akali, J4, Syndra, Rakan, and
Zaya.
Zaya. Jesus. And TSM drafts Hecarim again, Rek'Sai again, Bjergsen on Zoe, Sven on Lucian, Smoothie on Alistar. And it looked pretty rough early. Solo was up like 30 CS like almost the whole game.
He was playing a good Akali. There's no doubt about it. It looked pretty clean.
So the Hecarim Akali lane, everyone thinks that Akali loses that lane because Hecarim's so strong right now. But a lot of Hecarim's damage is in his E, and if he can't auto you, he can't proc his Sheen, um, and you take less damage. So your Shroud is really helpful,
Yep.
and you really win the early levels like really hard. Um, can you double check if Solo went Conqueror that game?
Solo went Fleet Footwork so that he
Okay.
could survive in lane.
Um, cause like I've played Akali into Hecarim and I've had no issues with it. You hard win it, like especially early. Like first couple backs, like your passive is just really good into Hecarim, and you poke him out, you have better shove. Um, and if we look at this game, Solo has a goal lead over Broken Blade almost the whole game.
Hmm.
And if you look at the scoreline, Solo ends 3-2 and 4, Broken Blade ends 3-1 and 2. Echo Fox is down almost 8k total at the end of the game, but Solo's only down 1k gold.
Yep.
Like Solo played a really good game. Solo should be really proud of how he played this split.
Yeah, his split was outstanding. I know I said it in a previous week as well, but I was really impressed with Solo. I think that he's really putting together a good champion pool, um, good execution, especially on his own in top lane because they don't spend a ton of time around top,
No, they don't.
and he absorbs pressure and he deals his own pressure back out. He had a great split.
Yeah, he did. So this game starts out with Fox actually grabbing first blood this time. So this is the first game that Fox gets first blood the whole series. Acadian ends up getting first blood every other game this series, and they solo kill Bjergsen. And Phoenix looks really strong on the Syndra. He does a ton of damage early. He just looks. It's a Syndra. It's a Syndra
Yeah,
that gets ahead, and he ends up 70 CS above Bjergsen at the end of the game. But he doesn't play aggressive. Like he gets this lead, and he starts doing a bunch of damage, and then the second they start losing, he's the person that's gonna 100 to 0 Sven, Bjergsen, or Acadian. and he just like never steps up. Like the whole game, he's like on his back foot. You know, Echo Fox is just playing scared, and it's something they haven't really done.
And I think it also boils down to Rush's game, right? So I think that it was really good preparation, most likely from TSM. They're like, we're gonna give Rush J4, and we're just gonna beat him on it. And I think that's what they decided. I think that they prepared for it well because you look at Rush's J4 lines in this series, and he was 0 and 7 in this game. He was 1 and 4 in the previous game, and then the game before that he was 0 and 6. So that's
J4
not
was the
good.
kryptonite to the whole series. It didn't pick up a win. TSM
No,
lost with it, and they're like, all right, we don't need it.
yeah,
And
take him back. They're like,
Crumbs
sure, we'll take him.
Crumbs on the desk called it. He's like, if they pick J4, whoever picks J4 is losing the series. Because J4 your team has to play so well around it. You need good vision. You need to play it aggressive. People aren't playing as pushed up. Everyone's super focused on vision, super focused on tracking. It's so hard to execute the early ganks, especially against a Rek'Sai who doesn't need wards to track you.
Right, he's so powerful because of that damn tremor sense. Like he saw him so many times on tremor sense. They set up traps for him. It, leaving up Rek'Sai. If you want to pick J4 again, pick J4 again, but do not leave up the Rek'Sai. Like I can't get over it. It's just so stupid. You might as well have given him Tom Kench while you were at it. Oh no, that's the other series, but
That's Olay.
yeah, that's
Might as
Olay.
well
But
give it him Galio.
yeah, might as well give them everything that they want because that's all they wanted was the Rek'Sai. But after Bergson's early rough game and the fact that he was out CS, he still put out an incredible amount of damage. He ended
He,
up accounting for over half the kills on his team. He was 11, 2, and 6.
you know how you know Bjergsen was feeling himself this game?
How's that?
He built Magi's. He built the
Yeah,
book, and he was racking up the pages.
it
Um,
was it was tough. It was tough
Acadian
because he
didn't
could
really have
do
a
it from
great game this series, or not this series, this game. He was 4-4-4, but he was comfortable.
and he was still up 70 CS on Rush. He was still
Yeah,
in his jungle, forcing him out, making sure that he had no positive impact on it, just a lot of negative.
and I think like a big underlier for this game was Smoothie played really fucking well on the Alistar.
I love the Alistar into Rakan. I think it is so for one, Rakan is so squishy. So if you can get the Alistar combo off on Rakan, you can pop him. Or if Hakuo starts flying in at you, right, about to alt, W lock everyone down, you just headbutt him, and then he runs around in a circle,
Yeah.
cries, and then runs away. And no, he doesn't run away because he's dead by that point
Mhm.
because he dies so fast. So I thought that was a great pick. I think that they almost baited the Zaya Rakan combo when they picked Lucian second, and then sure enough they picked it because Apollo plays a pretty good Zaya. Um,
Yeah, I mean Apollo didn't have. I don't look at any of the games and I'm like, oh, Apollo played bad. I wasn't too impressed with any of Hakuo's games. Granted, he was on Braum duty for 3 out of the 4, right?
yeah, I think so.
And I mean, Thresh wasn't banned, and they didn't give it to him. Granted, it's not the highest tier pick in pro play, but Thresh into Alistar is way better. They're already banning the Morgana.
Right,
Like, I
and,
would,
and it's almost like why not change up your style a little bit? Like
yeah,
Thresh is really good at securing picks, right? Especially like into. I mean, I guess at that point Zoe wasn't picked yet, but it allows you the ability to control a person, a pick like Thresh.
and
Whereas Hakuo is all
it's one
about
of his
the
best
dive.
champions.
Yeah,
That's what he beat TSM with. Morgana and Thresh are his two best champions. Maybe not anymore, but I look at the Akali, the J4, and the Syndra, and I think, why not pick Thresh here?
yeah,
It's a comfort pick. You know, you're risking your last game of the series. You're picking a super squishy support.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was a well played series by Smoothie, and I thought that the drafting for after that first round really picked up for TSM, and I think that's what led them to their victories.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know if it's the coaching staff. I think TSM just plays a lot, is willing to play a lot more, and has like I look in every role and I think every single player on TSM outclasses everyone on Echo Fox. The only iffy one is the top lane matchup, but Broken Blade has higher stats. Granted, that could be Solo is on a weaker team overall,
Yeah,
but
I honestly think Solo shined this series despite being losing, only winning one out of the four. I thought Solo played a very good series.
I don't
He
look at
survived in lanes that were where he was under fire. So
I mean I don't look at Solo in this series, and I don't look at Apollo, and I don't put any of the blame on them.
yeah,
Rush had
and Rush had a rough
a
series.
bad series overall. Even in the win, he didn't look amazing. He got
No,
really
he had
lucky with his RNG.
yeah,
Um, and he kind of just got carried. Phoenix had one good game. Every other game, it's just typical Phoenix. He isn't a top six mid laner in NA, or maybe he's is the sixth best mid laner in NA. Hakuo didn't look great. He didn't
no.
really get to express what I look at Hakuo and I think, you know, that's what I enjoy watching of Hakuo.
So what does that set up for next week now? Because
So the funny thing is, there was a tweet from Steve, who is the owner of Team Liquid, who said if TSM wins, they will pick them.
and what
Going,
they did they pick him?
uh, no, he deleted the
No,
tweet.
he picks
He
FlyQuest.
picks FlyQuest, and POB called them out on Saturday and says, "I want to play against FlyQuest." And I think that's gonna be a really sick matchup.
Yeah, and then we got C9 versus TSM, a classic.
Which I mean, I think that's another really good matchup. Um, I think TSM wins mid. I think C9 wins in jungle. Um, Top lane is
As
going
long
to
as
be
they ban
really,
Rek'Sai.
really fun to watch. I think Licorice overall, I like Licorice as a player, but Broken Blade has continued to be underestimated coming into every matchup that he's played. And despite the week he was sick and he didn't scrim with the team, like he's looked really good. He plays
Yeah,
carries, Licorice plays carries. I'm really excited for this series. I hope it's a good one.
I hope so too. And usually C9 TSM doesn't let us down. And it's a really good bot lane matchup too. Sneaky's had a really good season or split, and Sven looks like he's peaking right now. He's playing very well. So
Smoothie gets
that,
to play against the team that he got dropped from. He just played against the team that he got dropped from, cause or not dropped from. I think he left Fox for TSM,
yeah.
but he played for Echo Fox when he got dropped from C9. Beat Echo
hmm
Fox coming into C9. If history holds true, my boys are going to playoffs. They're going to the finals.
So is that who you're picking? You're picking TSM
I
in
have to.
five.
They're my team.
I'm picking C9 in five.
You want something spicy?
Oh, you
Picking.
wanna put something on it?
I'm thinking TSM in four.
Ooh, TSM in four.
I think.
Yeah, you're right. It's C9 in three.
Ooh. I
No,
mean,
I wouldn't go there.
I could see the series getting crazy. I could see C9 3-0ing. I could see TSM 3-0ing. I could see a 3-1 either way. I could see every single possibility. If someone told me, I'd be like, that makes sense.
And there's gonna be a couple of spicy picks in this too. Something you don't see coming. Some
I'm
interesting
really
counter.
I'm really excited for the top lane match. I definitely think it's gonna be the coolest matchup of playoffs. Um, I don't really look at like the junglers, any crazy picks there. Mid, I think will stay pretty common. I think that if TSM wants to win, they need to keep Zoe away from Niski. Uh,
You could see a mage in the bot lane from Sneaky though. You could see a Cassiopeia or something like that popping up in certain team comps. You could get a little bit.
I could see it.
You could be a little bit weird down there.
I really like Zazel. I don't think Zazel has the biggest champion pool in the world. Um, but I think he's a super strong support. I mean, I look at every role and I'd say like I don't think I give any role more than a 5% difference in
No,
terms of skill.
it should be a really good series, and I'm hoping that it lives up to it. Who you got in Liquid versus Fly?
All right, so I have like a little. I think Liquid's bad, um, just all
Been
around
bad
bad,
recently.
and I think Fly, despite having a couple rough is, um, I think Viper is better than Impact right now, at least. Viper just looks
Yeah,
like he can play more champions than Impact can play.
Impact plays the tanks well
Yeah.
normally, and tanks aren't really prevalent right now. But they are getting buffed for this patch, right? They're gonna play it on 9. No,
Oh,
they're playing on
they
9.6,
play
right?
on
Not
9.6.
9.7.
9,
Okay,
9.7 maybe finals. I don't know. I haven't looked that far ahead. I look
right.
at the jungle matchup, and I think if Xmithy is out of his slump, I think Xmithy is um, a better early game jungler than Santorin. But I really like Santorin. He's looked really good. I really love the story that has kind of evolved since he joined FlyQuest, which is actually what I was watching before this episode instead of the FlyQuest GGS games. I was watching The Drive, which explains how like when Santorin got dropped, he didn't know if he was going to make it back onto a team, and every team that he joined was getting relegated, and that when he got to when he won, he got interviewed, and I mean he barely could get a word out. He was choking up, and
That's
it,
pretty
it
cool.
was really good to see. I like Santorin. He
Everyone
got
likes to root for the underdog, but I do think Santorin's had an excellent split. X Smithy, normally I consider best jungler in NA, hands down. I love his movements, I love his thought process, but the last couple of weeks have not looked very clean from X Smithy. So if anyone can exploit that, I think right now it is Santorin. So that will be an interesting matchup to watch.
That's the thing. I don't even know if it is an underdog. Like to be honest,
From the way they've been playing recently, yeah, I get that.
I mean
Like, but think like Wild Turtle. He always gets like shit on by people. Like for his flash plays, but Double Lifts has got a few of those flash plays in his past too.
no, Doublelift doesn't flash in like Turtle. He just
Exactly.
doesn't use it.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
like I don't. Pobelter is looking like he's fucking hungry,
Oh yeah, and
and
he's going up against Liquid, who dumped him.
he's. I don't think Jensen's all that hot of a player.
I still think Jensen is good.
I
I
don't think
still
he's
really
bad.
like
I think
Jensen.
he's a top 3 mid laner in NA right now. But if I was picking a team, I'd pick POB before I pick Jensen.
Oh, I don't do that, but
I
you know my feelings on
it
POB.
goes it goes Bjerg, POB, Jensen. I mean, just I don't look at any of his games and I'm like, damn, dude, this guy is just levels above. I think he's too selfish. And I think that's going to be something that cost him. And I think it's going to be the same way that it cost Bottom.
So
I
are
think
you going with a fly victory?
I'm going with a Fly 3-1.
Oof, that is spicy.
I think if TL comes out and loses the first two, I could see them going and getting swept 3-0.
I agree. I'm calling with what I want to happen because I want to see Fly win. I didn't like TL when it was assembled. I don't love. The only player I really like on TL is X Smithy, to be perfectly honest. Um, so and I hate how they were calling themselves this team and how what a load of shit, right? So yeah, I'm rooting for FlyQuest, and that's why I'm picking them, even though it might be completely wrong. I could see Liquid 3-0ing. It can happen. Fex Smithy's on his game. I feel like the lanes can win. But I'm picking Fly in 5 because that's what I want to see.
I don't want to see a 5 game series.
I love 5 game series, man.
I do, but I don't want to watch TL for 5 games because you literally take any 5 games they played during the regular season and you put them in. Like FlyQuest, every other team in playoffs has adapted to the meta and changed. FlyQuest or not FlyQuest, Liquid plays old League of Legends.
Old Korean, old LCK is what they play. Like last season,
Yeah,
maybe
and what
2 seasons ago. It's so boring a lot of the time. The only thing I really like watching is X Smithy outsmart people.
and I mean, I haven't looked at Doublelift and think he's been playing crazy. I mean, they're 0-3 or they're 3 for 1 or 1 for 3 in their last 4. If they come out and they drop a game, I think one that fuels the fuck out of Pobe,
Yeah,
and I think TL is going to really struggle to bounce back from that.
right. You have to see a good first game from TL take this series. And like I said, I can see them 3-0 if they take that first game. But if they don't, and if they've proven that they're just still stuck in the same old meta, well, FlyQuest continues to innovate. I always like innovation over stagnant. So I'm hoping it's a good series. I could see it being a stomp, but I'm hopeful that because of those points that we'll see a pretty good series.
Like when I
Um,
think of a team, I'm supposed to see teams get better throughout the season, and I see almost every other team besides TL and 100 Thieves that I look at and I think they've made improvements from the start of the split to the end of the split.
yeah, that's true.
And that's not just because TL came out undefeated for 8 games or 12 games or whatever the fuck it was. Like, they've played the same style and the same way of League of Legends since the beginning. And I think the bullshit saying that they were trying new shit at the end of the season and that's why they weren't winning is exactly what I said. I think it's just bullshit because they weren't playing anything crazy.
No, they were still playing the same fucking champions, so I don't know what your crazy new
You gave
like discoveries
you
were.
gave Impact Vladimir or like Jace, and it's like that's not crazy. You're changing one champion in your whole champ pool, and the champion doesn't
Right.
make the change. You're not playing proactive League of Legends. And I look at teams TSM, C9, FlyQuest, even GGS, even
Yeah.
not so much Echo Fox in playoffs at least, but they are all looking to make plays early. TL is looking to punish you for making mistakes. They're not looking to.
Yeah, they're looking for that one catch or that one team fight at 22 minutes that can swing the gold in their favor so that they can slowly choke you out. Right? That's what they want. They want that 3 for 1 take Baron and take 4 or 5 turrets and then get that gold lead and then slowly choke you out. That's their game style. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad game style all the time. I'm saying that it's a good game style when used intermittently. But anytime that you use the same game style over and over and over again, it, it's a dangerous move because other people are looking to punish you for that.
Yeah, I don't want to see Liquid in finals. I don't think they deserve it.
But do you know what you do want to see?
I want to see TSM FlyQuest.
No, you want to see my series of the week. It's a really good one this time. Are you ready to write it down?
I'll open a new tab. What do you
Yeah.
got for me?
I have the LPL. We're talking about Top versus BLG, Billy Gaming. This is an insane series. I am telling you, it is one of the best 3 game series. So yes, it goes 3 games. So I guess I ruined game 2 for you already, but um, it is one of the best 3 game series of League I've watched in a while. It is so entertaining, so fun. We're talking about Baron steals. We're talking about a kill a minute. We're talking about um, base races. We're talking about a Nexus surviving with one auto attack for a period of time. Like it's so good. Guys, if you like any League of Legends that's entertaining, if you're willing to watch NA, trust me, you want to watch this series. Like it is so much better. It is so much better than what we're watching in NA. I'm telling you, man. I think NA is really picking it up, but trust me, this is a series worth watching. I would suggest sitting down and watching all 3 games, the full gamut. It is fun. It is fun League of Legends.
I'll do my best for you.
D- watch one of the games
I,
by next. If
I'll,
you watch one of the games, you'll watch all of them because they're so good.
the thing is, I'm very strapped for time.
If you don't want to watch the games, here's my suggestion. YouTube Top versus BLG Game One highlights. It's like 6 minutes. Watch 6 minutes of highlights when you
I
have six
I
free
watched
minutes while you're.
highlights last time. Don't worry.
Yeah. So if you're not gonna watch the whole game, I sincerely suggest you watch the whole game because these three games are outstanding. But like it's like every single one of the games in the series has something fun and cool about it, like something unique, and that's why it's one of the best series I've seen in a while. You got to watch it. But if you don't want to watch the full thing, if you don't got 3 hours to commit throughout the week, watch the highlights. You'll get through them in like 22 minutes, and it's a half an hour show that you would watch on TV. Only this is better. Trust me.
Here, I have a series of the week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you're watching Sunday's game after the TSM Echo Fox game, there was a cats versus dogs game. Did you see that?
I did not see the cats versus dogs game.
It was pretty horrible.
I can only imagine.
It was super cringy. And I feel like the dogs just like were gifted the best team comp because cats have to pick Rengar 80 carry and Yorick top, and Yorick is winless in LCS. So how is it gonna win in LCS?
Poor cats. Suck it, cats.
I actually
Dogs are better.
I couldn't bear to watch it till the end, so I don't know who actually won.
Guys, watch Top versus BLG. Trust me. And if you watch it, send something on Discord to let me know you watched it and let me know your thoughts because I want to know if anyone's listening to these games of the week suggestions, if anyone's pulling them out.
Well, we have like 30 listeners, so someone might.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Of the 30 of you, if even 5 of you watch it, you will thank me. Then let everyone because if you obviously like League of Legends if you're listening to this, and this is fucking high quality League of Legends. It is fucking awesome.
What do you mean? We cover NA. We cover the highest quality of League of Legends.
This is League of Legends the way it should be. I'm talking about bloody. I'm talking about cool picks. I'm talking about great macro. Ah, so
See,
good.
that's
It's
what
so
NA
good.
used to be without the good macro. We used to be
Right.
the faster team, and now we're the slower team.
Exactly.
Hey.
No, NA. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think NA has picked it up in the last few weeks because, like, week 6, week 7, it was terrible league, and now it's down to it's to moderate to above moderate league. So I'm happy with the way NA is trending, but this is a series that everyone should watch.
All right, I guess that's it.
All right,
I
and we'll
hope,
we'll be back for the semifinals next week then.
yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, let us know. If you have any suggestions, comments, concerns, questions, you can leave them in the comments or join us on Discord and PM either of us. Don't tell Papa you hate the show, uh, because I enjoy doing this.
It's a good time.
I get more quality time with my bud Danger.
Yeah, and we get to let our listeners hear how much we hate certain plays. So that's always fun for me.
All right, thanks for listening, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, later.